to Jake and Trev Review Everything.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Trev. And today we're going to be taking a look at a pair of independent films. We felt it was very important to respond to some requests and take a step away from some of the action films that we've been predominantly featuring on the show up to this point.
You just killed a helicopter with a car!
So we're going to be doing things a little bit differently today. Why don't you tell us about it, Jake?
Well, the two movies that we watched were Lars and The Real Girl.
Hey, I have a visitor.
Where did you meet this person?
I met her on the internet.
And also The Giant Mechanical Man.
I'm having a hard time right now, Jill. I just need a place to stay for a while.
Why'd you choose to start doing this robot thing?
I feel like modern life can be alienating.
Yeah.
Lars and the Real Girl is the story of Ryan Baby Goose, who plays Lars, an emotionally troubled young man who goes to try to find and get himself a girl online, only she's decidedly less real than many other online relationships.
Wait.
She's a sex doll.
She's a sex doll.
That's what I'm saying. She's for sex and...
Anatomically correct.
To Lars, she is very real, and a lot of the drama and, in some cases, comedy of this story come out of this delusion that Lars is in, and as his friends and family in the small town that they live come to grips with this development.
Don't want anything to do with her.
The Giant Mechanical Man is about a girl who's just so out of place. She's really different from everybody else.
She seems distracted and disinterested.
And her head's in the clouds.
Her heart's not in it, and her head's in the clouds.
She just doesn't have any direction in life. Nobody understands her.
She's all topsy-turvy.
I apologize.
It doesn't matter.
And a giant mechanical man.
Remember me!
He's not really mechanical.
Well, he's a street performer. And nobody gets him either, and he's weird, and his head's in the clouds.
I guess I feel like modern life can be alienating.
And everybody around him thinks that he's wasting his life doing
His
this.
life is topsy-turvy.
You know what'd be good for your routine? Breakdancing.
Breakdancing.
And they're both just trying to find direction, and maybe their paths will cross, and they'll change each other's lives forever.
Oh, man.
Yeah, exciting. So, Trev, what did you think about Lars and the Real Girl, and would you recommend it?
As viewers of the show probably know, I'm not particularly fond of Ryan Baby Goose. To me, he's just supposed to be some kind of pretty face, and everyone's infatuated.
Still isn't over.
But I was really shocked. This is a good movie. It tells an emotional story. It tells it with heart. It doesn't bludgeon you over the head with its point.
No.
They craft real, genuine sympathy with characters. It really kind of shocked me. I'm not particularly into these sort of movies. I kind of see them usually as being a little bit too saccharine. But this one really kind of shocked me, and I'm left really glad that I watched it.
I'm a lover of all movies, regardless of genre. I don't want to seem like I just watch action movies or sci-fi or fantasy or anything like that.
Right.
I do like a good dramatic story, emotional story. This was a mix, I think, of comedy and also drama. If you're into seeing a good movie, a good emotional movie that'll pull you in and you can get involved in the story, definitely I would recommend Lars and the Real Girl.
So, Jake, what did you think about The Giant Mechanical Man?
This was a movie that I had recommended for both of us to watch. I had not seen it, but I had seen the trailer for it a while ago, and to be honest, the trailer is the entire movie. And it's really just such a joke. It's a twisting of the genre. It's almost a checklist of all the things that indie movies are supposed to have. You have main characters that are misunderstood by the characters around them.
I never believed in you, Tim.
Their heads are in the clouds. They have existential crises.
I was just born into this life and I'm supposed to know what I'm doing.
And it's so boilerplate, and a lot of the lines are so stilted.
I think you're just great.
It's a frustrating movie to watch, and I wouldn't recommend this to anybody. Well, if you have to, watch the trailer. I wouldn't recommend seeing this movie, though. There are better movies that are emotional and existential, and this isn't one of them.
If you are aware of independent existential movies, you know, these kind of, where's my life going sort of movies, if you're aware of them, you've seen this movie then. Whatever you imagine in your head to take place in a movie like that probably happens in this movie. And also take it a step further, I would recommend it for some purposes. A purpose of, you know, getting together with your friends and, you know, shouting at the screen and kind of groaning, rolling your eyes and that kind of thing. Oh, Dios mío! This is a great comedy movie. I don't think it was ever intended that way. I imagine they really thought they'd be kind of tugging on some people's heartstrings. Oh, I felt that way before. But, you know, everyone's felt that way before. But this movie is so blunt and obvious with everything. There's not a serious thing about this movie to me. Bob Odenkirk has a small cameo in this movie as the brother of the main character's girlfriend at the start of the movie. And his presence kind of gave us both a glimmer of hope. And
maybe this was going to be a satire on the genre?
You're all silver.
But Bob Odenkirk plays it to the nines. He's very serious in this role.
People weren't meant to live like this. Painted up like a metal guy.
Totally straight.
It's not a comedy role, so you kind of almost feel like it's an Andy Kaufman-esque movie while you're watching it. Like, this has to be a joke. Like, this whole movie takes itself so seriously.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Alright, so we're going to get more into the specifics of these movies. Actually, we're going to do it a little differently this time. We're going to compare the movies in what they were both trying to do. They're very similar at a lot of points. But if you actually genuinely want to watch these movies and you don't want anything spoiled, there's a spoiler alert for you right there. There it is. Here it is again. Oh, we've given you more than enough chances.
You had your chance.
The first problem that we had between these two movies was how blatant the character arcs were in Giant Mechanical Man versus how subtle the character arcs are in Lars and the Real Girl. So we really noticed that in Lars and the Real Girl, a lot of things happen to the main character. He is just getting over his father's death, his mother's death. He lives in the garage. He's removed from society. You can tell in the early parts of the movie that he really does not want to be around anybody, but as the movie progresses, instead of telling us like, oh, he's getting pretty good at being around people, you can see it through his actions, through other people's actions, and you can see that character arc forming as the movie goes along. And the other thing is that he doesn't talk very much in the movie. He's a very silent character.
I'm inviting you for breakfast.
And this adds to his character because he's not constantly musing about his lot in life or what's going to happen to him or what's gone wrong. A lot of his problems manifest themselves physically or in a way that shows the audience that he's having problems with certain things. For example, he has a problem with being touched.
But it's such a comfort sometimes just to have somebody's arms around you, don't you think?
No.
And throughout the movie, instead of beating us over the head mercilessly about him getting better at being able to hug people or shake people's hands or touching or anything like that, we see it.
Wow.
Hell of grip too, pal.
Yeah.
So we see that character progression. It's brought up once, and it's in the back of your head, and this movie respects you as an audience member by showing you and not telling you.
Meanwhile, over in The Giant Mechanical Man, you know, anytime the supposed problems that these characters have, everyone is talking about it. All the extra characters, the secondary characters, will say to the main characters, you know, you don't know where you're going. Your life's in shambles.
Your head's in the clouds.
You know what I see when I look at you? You're 30-something, you're poor, You know why that is? Look, I'll tell you why that is.
We should have been able to tell this sort of thing just from watching them. I could. I don't think I'm a genius. Well, I am a genius.
You'll realize I'm the one with the brains around here, and you'll start treating me a bit nicer.
But I don't think I'm such a genius that the layman couldn't have figured out that these people are kind of wandering disinterested through life. But every time they have an opportunity, they want to tell us about it. They want to tell us about it. And, oh, you haven't been doing very well lately. Or, oh, things are changing for you. And so we know. We're watching the movie right now. You don't need you to tell us what's happening, movie, because I can see what's happening.
Do you see?
Please, no.
In Lars and the Real Girl, as we watch Lars grow up a little bit throughout the course of this movie, the overall theme of, growing up out of childhood, becoming an adult, it becomes kind of a more obvious theme.
We can see in the movie that part of the reason that he gets a real doll as a girlfriend is because he sees that his brother and sister-in-law are married, they're having a family, and he, being socially removed and awkward, he needs an outlet, a way that he can launch himself into that adulthood, but he doesn't have the tools or the ability to do it in a proper way, so he gets a sex doll and then gives her a name and gives her a backstory, and she talks to him, and those are things that he's struggling with, and we're not told that, we're shown that. You can tell that this is a way for him to cope with the inability to become an adult. The closest we get to exposition in the movie is he asks his older brother, well, how did you know when you became a man?
How'd you know?
How'd I know what?
That you were a man.
And they kind of have a discussion, and the things that he tells Lars come up later on in the movie, so you can see he's looking for answers on how to become an adult.
Mm-hmm. And the answers that his brother gives him, he doesn't instantly have the answers.
Yeah. It's kind of no. Well,
it's another way that this movie sort of feels a lot more genuine than the other one. It kind of shows to even the people that we look to in our lives that we feel are grown up and have it all figured out, still don't have it all figured out.
Whereas on the other hand, with Giant Mechanical Man, both characters are perpetually stuck in adolescence. The main female character, played by Jenna Fisher, she is going from job to job, a lot of entry-level jobs. She's not making enough money for rent. At one point, she has to move in with her sister.
I just need a place to stay for a while, okay?
Yeah, okay.
And we can see those things as her is still in adolescence, still not able to be responsible or take care of herself.
Right.
But then on the other hand, all the other characters, like her sister and her brother-in-law, keep constantly telling her, like, you gotta grow up.
Please, for once in your life, just take yourself seriously, all right?
You gotta get a job. You gotta do better than this. They actually force her to date somebody who's well-to-do so that she can become, the wife of this guy.
Doug Duncan. Isn't that awesome?
You should definitely go out with him, Janice.
And connected with all this, Lars is a character who has genuine emotional problems. His mother died during childbirth. His father, was, troubled, wasn't always there for him in a lot of ways he needed him to be. And, it's reflected. Meanwhile, in Giant Mechanical Man, these characters who are supposedly lost and trying to grow up and everything, there's nothing wrong with them.
What's the point of you? Why should anyone care about you?
Yes.
It just makes them come off as these lazy characters who want to find a better answer for things, when the truth should have been obvious a long time ago that there's no easy answer for any of these things.
Absolutely. The worst thing that the main female and male characters have, the female character, the worst thing she has is she just doesn't pay attention. Like, when people are talking to her, she's really bad with that.
What do you mean?
What? What?
What do you mean? What? Are you listening? Not really.
That wouldn't take much. Just take some Ritalin or something, get some medication so that you can focus.
And as for the male lead in Giant Mechanical Man, it's the whole starving artist paradigm that's going through,
The struggles are part of the art, Pauline. Van Gogh never sold a painting.
Tim, you're not Van Gogh.
He has a point, but most people don't get it.
I don't do that sort of stuff, the wave or the moonwalk. I'm not that kind of
Oh, you should. It's fun.
They make a point in shoving it in our faces in this movie that other people don't get it, but lo and behold, she gets it. They get each other.
And that's all they need.
It just takes one person, you know? Just one person to make you feel like you belong.
So you have, on one hand, someone with a genuine emotional difficulty, and someone who doesn't listen and doesn't want to work respectively. And these are the challenges that these characters are overcoming. I mean, I don't know which one sounds more like a more interesting struggle to you.
Yeah,
You know?
a real problem or an easily fixable, fake, not even problem.
Right.
I have no clue. No clue what I'm doing.
Neither do I.
Now we're going to compare secondary characters. In Lars and the Real Girl, we see Lars is surrounded by family, friends, people in the town, people that have known him. And as word starts to get around, as it does in a small town, concerning his delusion, these people are slowly being able to be brought on board with it.
These things happen. You can depend on me.
Okay, we're told by the doctor that, you know, this is a delusion, it's not a hallucination, he doesn't have schizophrenia, there's nothing technically wrong with how his brain works, he's just in the midst of this delusion, and then we can't just force him to break it.
She's not a person. She's a big plastic thing.
That's amazing. Did you hear that?
Just like real people might, people who have genuine consciences and heart, they start slowly falling in line. There's a little bit of resistance because it's, you know, it's kind of
weird.
It's
weird. He's dating a sex doll, so it's obviously a hard obstacle to get over. I thought that maybe there would be situations that would come about it where people would not play along with the fact that he's dating a sex doll, that they would be like, oh, nice sex doll, like, does she do, like, you know, sex stuff or whatever?
Wish I had a woman I couldn't talk.
And, you know, they don't, it never really happens. The movie isn't taking the situation as something weird and to poke fun at or anything. It's really, all the characters in the movie and the movie itself take the situation very seriously, and it works very well because it draws the audience in to take it seriously as well. And by the end of the movie, Bianca, the sex doll, really becomes a character unto herself.
Now you listen to me. Bianca has a life of her own. No self-respecting woman's going to be at your beck and call, mister, and the sooner you learn that, the better.
Meanwhile, side characters in The Giant Mechanical Man.
They are awful.
Thanks a lot, lady.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. You need to get a life.
They are terrible, terrible cartoon villain people.
I'm an author. Yeah, well, I guess they fly first class to these things. I don't know. One of my hobbies is helping kids, blind kids, build a church.
Anybody that's not the two main characters is just a parody, a farce of people that don't understand weird people.
Is that makeup?
Yeah, it's makeup. It's silver makeup.
The dude's wearing makeup.
They're just so mean and brutal
callous,
and ignorant.
Please, look who dressed up for the party.
It's just disgusting.
How would you like it if someone poked you?
Do you want to poke me?
No, but I'm gonna poke you, you asshole.
Yeah, but you'd like that.
And it's taken to such a level that it's clear to me that this was the idea. We can't make these characters sympathetic, so let's surround them with cartoonish parodies of what bad people are like, so that way we can sympathize with them because they're in such a bad position.
And because there are no other characters in this movie to sympathize with.
Blew my bonus already.
Really? Again?
S-Class. 500. Black. Leather. Fully loaded. It's great. Beautiful car.
There's a scene where Jenna Fisher decides finally that she's going to stick up for herself and she's not going to be a concessionist at the zoo anymore. And she wants a real job and she wants to be respected. And she walks into the manager's office and says,
I don't like my job.
And the manager's like,
What kind of a job do you want?
Just something where I can think and make decisions.
What about assistant habitat coordinator?
I can do that.
Good. Go do it.
here you go. And it's like, what?
Not like your Moxie kid. You stand up for yourself. Here's a promotion.
Yeah, and when she gets hired in the zoo in the first place, the manager says,
Well, how about concessions? I mean, you're overqualified for the job, but if you're desperate, I can give you that.
we are already told that there's not a position that she could be into beyond being a concessionist, and then just because her character decides that she wants something better for life and she's going to stick up for herself, that's when the position opens up.
It was all waiting there the whole time. All she had to do was reach out and touch it.
I'm better than selling drinks.
And that doesn't happen in real life, and it's frustrating to watch in this movie. In independent movies, more often than not, music is a big factor in tugging at your heartstrings and making you involved emotionally. And there are ways that this can work, and there are ways that this can go wrong. And we saw both ends of the spectrum with both of these movies. In Lars and the Real Girl, the music is very subtle. It has its own thematic music in the movie, and it really plays to the strengths of what's going on. It's in the background, and it's very subtle, and there are even instances in this movie where serious things are going on, and there's no music to punctuate it.
Every person in this town bends over backwards to make Bianca feel at home. Why do you think she has so many places to go and so much to do? Huh?
Right. You really get the full force of the situations in the movie when there is no music, and the music takes a backseat to what's going on in the movie.
So while Lars and the Real Girl uses music as an enhancer, the Giant Mechanical Man uses music like a crutch. It gets so loud and plays for so long in moments when there hasn't been an emotional sting. There hasn't been some, big crisis, really. And they do a lot of shots of having the main characters, kind of dreamily looking out the window, kind of looking sad.
And her head's in the clouds.
And you can tell they're thinking about how they don't know where they're going.
We know that's what they're thinking because that's what they tell us.
They told us that's what they're thinking several times. No, and, then the indie music just starts kind of swelling in the background. Everything's gonna be alright. And it's a nightmare.
We have such sights to show you.
It really is. Oh, this is a scene where we're gonna learn about ourselves and we're gonna get better as we go along.
Hey, I got a fulfilling job now. I'm doing much better. Thank you very much.
Let's try this. We'll find a clip with music in it from the movie and show it here.
You got me around. You left me underwater.
We'll take that same clip and then we'll play it without the music. See the difference?
See how manipulative the music was and how it was put there to make you feel a certain way that what was on screen couldn't properly convey to you because it wasn't constructed well?
Did you see? Please, no.
And so what we're left with is sort of a goofus and gallant story between these two movies. How to do kind of what it's like growing up, independent sort of movie, and how absolutely never to do that. This was such a disappointment to me. I really like Jenna Fisher. I'm a big fan of The Office.
What do you like best about Pam?
Oh, I really don't want to talk about it.
Was her legs, her boobs, her...
She's got a pretty face, she's funny, she's got good comedic timing. I've seen it. Where was it in this movie? I don't know. And, and as we've talked about before, it's always a real tragedy when you see an actor or actress that you like who has talent, who has showcased the talent, and they're just working with dreck, and it comes across on every page and every minute of the screen.
What do you mean?
I mean, on one hand, you have a movie that's beautifully done, the scenes flow together, the characters come across as real characters. Lars and the Real Girl is such a weird situation on its surface that there's this guy dating a real doll. but then it becomes so emotional and it drags you in that you can picture them actually having a relationship, and you almost see Bianca, the real doll, as an actual character in the movie. It has all the right ingredients. Whereas in The Giant Mechanical Man, it's a paint-by-numbers movie that is about existentialism and about not fitting in, and it's really ham-fisted, and it clubs you over the head with what you're supposed to get out of this.
So congratulations, independent movies. You've made me feel that a plastic sex doll is more of a real character than the wonderful Jenna Fischer. So congratulations. You should all be very proud of yourselves.
I apologize.
It doesn't matter.
In any case, I'm Trev.
And I'm Jake.
And this has been Jake and Trev Review Everything. Thanks for watching.
Peanut butter disaster.